So, welcome everyone. This is the third in our sequence of four for 2025, and it's a transmission. So, I'm just going to allow whatever chooses to come through around manifestation. Um, so, the first thing that I'm asked to share with everyone is in the context of the flourishing triangle, where you have flourishing, harmony, and humility. And it's an equilateral triangle. So, it's all equal. There isn't anything that is more important than the other. All three of them are equal. And the idea is to invite you to be in the center of it and stay there. So, manifestation is the first part of manifestation based on how we work with the flourishing triangle is to know that it is a celebration that is created by you as a human. And as a human, when we are being human, we are actually being love. So the first step towards manifestation, when you stand in the center of the flourishing triangle and you open yourself up to, okay, I'm ready to take the first step. And then allow yourself to just simply dream that which you wish to celebrate. The thing to know about a celebration is it is something that you acknowledge has already occurred. So even if you are celebrating a resolve that you have taken of something that is to come about, remember the universe is in service of you. And the universe, the way it operates is, you ask and it is given. It works on the vibrations. So what manifestation is doing is, it's from the center of the flourishing triad, you are really anchoring that which you wish to manifest as if it already has occurred. Now, the sure shot way of declaring something that has already occurred in such a way that the universe takes it over and then multiplies it is being able to activate all of your senses to totally know, see, hear, taste, smell, feel that something has already occurred. So it is visual, it is auditory, it is kinesthetic. All of your senses are activated. And what's even more important is to ensure that that experience that is felt in your senses stays there for at least 4 times 17 seconds, which is the 17-second rule. And it is at that point that the universe takes it over. Now, the idea, I think it's so cool, to even realize that what we are being taught here is that celebrate that. To manifest, get into a realm of celebration. And then go ahead and dream and celebrate what has already occurred in your life that you're consciously aware of, and keep going, even envisioning what it would be like if what you dream about already occurs, and celebrate that also. Now, when you celebrate something, it's not a statement, oh, I celebrate it. You can acknowledge something by simply saying, I acknowledge it. No great fuss. Celebration calls for a little bit more planning and thinking and engagement, and it has a vibe to it, and you will add your own little nuance of what it is that you like about it. So you can imagine even the build up to planning a celebration your vibe is going higher and higher and higher. And then the act of celebration, you know, it celebration is often with other people. And that other persons, in some instances, may simply be the presences of various people that you would love to see around you. They may not necessarily be there, but the vibe will be there. And you can, of course, actually celebrate it with other people. So we are using this wonderful formula of manifestation where it's a man-made series of festivities that you share in a flourishing way, standing in the center of the flourishing triad. And it is that which you consciously give over to the universe. From the flourishing triad, depending on how you experience it, you can, of course, go into how much better can it get, because you will start feeling really great. I mean, I found this approach so brilliant. I mean, I love the gratitude journal. I love the rampage of appreciation. I love all of that. And celebration just takes it up several notches. So I've started using this. I used it before the release of the Flourishing Code, actually. We really celebrated its release. And got several people that are working in the team to be engaged in its celebration. And then I did an announcement of Flow, which is our Flourishing Leaders of the World program. And before the press release went out, we celebrated that. And I mean, it got coverage in such prominent media. I mean, it was like shocking what emerged. Like nearly 157 million people or something it reached. But we celebrated it even before we actually press the button for it to go out. The other interesting thing about a celebration, and particularly if you actually make it a series of festivities, which is what manifestation is. You station yourself in the festivities that you are enjoying and engaged in and partaking in. There is a little bit more thought that goes into celebration of festivities. There's often a theme to it. Because we usually associate festivities with a particular function or a particular festival. So, I mean, I call it, my festival of manifestation. So, a series of festivities where I work with, and it's my festival of manifestation. I found it quite useful to go back and anchor in certain, because I used to be such a go doing person, that there were many, many amazing things that occurred in my life before I went on my spiritual awakening journeys and actually woke up and toned down my pace. That things occurred and it was like, yeah, okay, fine, let's move on. Okay, great. Let's distribute a chocolate to everyone. Okay, let's open a bottle of champagne and move on. That when I started this, I thought, I'm really going to go and savor some of those moments because they're there in my field, and I'm not whole and complete about them because I've just moved on. So they're still there. So it was really great to just bring in and then reconnect to the people that are there. This is what the amazing thing that occurs when you stand in the center of the flourishing triad. There's just somebody at the door. Just hold on a moment. Let me deal with that. The beauty of standing in the center of the triad, and especially if you've done the exercise I asked you to do in the first part, where you define what flourishing meant for you, we defined what harmony was like, and what you define what you expressing yourself with humility is. You are, you feel you belong, you feel that you are sharing with, you don't feel alone, you know? So when I went back and looked at some of those moments that I had just glossed over, and that they were significant moments in my life, I suddenly reconnected with all those people that contributed to the achievement of those moments. And it was beautiful to really reconnect with them and share my appreciation, even though it was in my own mind. And then I went to the next one, and then the next one. So it was like it was like complete over. Initially it felt like a little bit of an overindulgence in yumminess, and then it started just simply flowing. So by the time I came to that, which is my resolve going forward, which is in my list of I choose to believe, I was already floating and flowing, and I was well and truly anchored in the center of the flourishing triad. And really what occurs when you operate this way is that so I'm converting some of the beliefs that I have in my I choose to believe in the form of a festivity. So it is beyond, it's not only just reading a list of I choose to believe, because that can become quite boring after a while. But I found that there were clusters in my I choose to believe of different types, you know? And I was like, okay, I have 7 days of 7 clusters that I can actually have a festival celebration with. And that's how they're going to manifest. So really taking the I choose to believe to a whole new level, utilizing fully the manifestation and miracles. So, you know, I've seen it in North India. I don't know if it appears everywhere else, but in North India, and it happens during the 9 Navratri as well, where you have the 9 goddesses, um, that each day signifies a particular color. So and then the entire temple, the deity, everything, the foods they eat, everything is linked to that particular color. So I just went quite creative with my festivities, you know, chose a color, chose a theme, chose a crystal. And I knew within me that I was in that vibe. Now, there were times where, I was speaking as I'm in this festivity. And it was beautiful, because it just like there's this other stuff going on around the world also, um, which is dampening people's positivity, and their people are disconnecting from that vibe of possibility with everything that they are perceiving that is going on around the world. So I totally also see that. And when people are like that, you go to them and in their face you are like celebrating, they won't like that at all. It is unempathetic. But when you're standing in the flourishing triad, you're flourishing, you're in harmony, and you speak with humility. That which you are celebrating as a festivity, then people start to see that there's, despite whatever they may be feeling, there is still magic in the air. There's still something quite exquisite and special that they are experiencing in amidst everything. And they start to acknowledge that. And the beauty of manifestation and miracles is you start to experience it in the moment. So the formula is no huge process required anymore. Literally, the secret lies in the word itself. Manifestation, stationing yourself in festivities of that which you choose to create. And by deciding how you're going to be celebrating, what type of festivities, you can start applying it already to what has already occurred in your life. So when you look at what you stand for and what it is that you wish to intend to realize, you can then apply that wonderful festival celebration to that. I'm opening myself up for questions. And in the questions will be more answers and more revelations. So if anybody has anything you wish to share, put it in the chat. Raise your hand. Yes. Yes, Gail.
So this does remind me of The Secret. I know, because I know what I love about you, Mynoo, is that I know you've studied and probably and have absorbed so many different spiritual things, and I mean, I know that you know Abraham and Esther Hicks, which I've followed at one point. So I know you know The Secret. This definitely reminds me of The Secret, except that it's never been told in the sense of being in a triangle, in the triangle. But so how would you, except for that, I mean, that is the difference, right?
I think it is a little bit more than that. I mean, Abraham talks about this, because I get my information from the other legions like Abraham, right? That's where it comes from.
Oh, okay.
So you're in the center of the triad, flourishing, harmony, and humility. So you are standing there. Okay. And what we're asking you to do here is to, decide what it is that you are going to celebrate like a festival. You know what we do when we celebrate a festival. There's a lot of effort that goes into it, a lot of thinking, a lot of planning, and it lasts a few days, and there's a lot of belonging and sharing that's there, right?
Right.
Okay. So it's like literally, it's like the volume turned up, quite a significant step up to ask and it is given.
It is
Manifestation and miracles.
okay.
It is like you manifest because you decide this is what I'm going to celebrate as a festival. And I'm going to station myself in those festivities. Just like over Christmas, we are stationed in that. In Diwali, we are stationed in the celebration of Diwali. There's a build up to it, you know, there's a lot of care, there's a lot of celebration, there's a lot of, if you think about all our senses, how does it look? How are we going to decorate our place? All of it. So, what if you applied that to that which you wish to manifest as if it's already occurred?
So this is really tuning it up.
This is really like,
Yeah, yeah. Because I mean, The Secret. in this, I mean, I'm very familiar with The Secret and I've used it. Um, but in The Secret, it's not like a festivity. It's not for several days. And
No,
it's
this is
funny.
manifestation. It is
Yeah.
station in the festivities created by man, which is human, and human already is in, the innate vibration of being human is amplification, it's love. So you can imagine the moment you go into a celebration of something. So that's why I just love to begin with things that had occurred in my life that I had glossed over, but they were foundational to who I am today. And there were many people who were in that glossing over happenings. Yeah, okay, we bought some ice cream or we bought some champagne and the whole team celebrated. But really we didn't. But that was foundational to what I was able to do later on in life. That was foundational to where I am today. So it was like,
What do you said, really, we didn't. What do you mean, really, we didn't? Because it
as
sounded like you did.
and all we did was got champagne. It was a team that was working on a particular project. We achieved a particular milestone, and we said, "Oh, we must celebrate it." We got champagne, but everybody's still working away on their desks, drinking this glass of champagne. But there wasn't any like celebration or anything like that as
Oh,
such. It was a mechanical thing. So when I looked back, it was like that was so huge in terms of what it did for me. Like, the when I had the police protection for 2.5 years, that was a
wow.
huge thing that occurred. I didn't even know there was anything like that. Gave me 2.5 years to really create a wonderful, safe haven for, my son and I, which is amazing. I never really, thought about it. I just got on with it at that time. But it was worthy of celebration and acknowledging those people that have so contributed to me being able to do what I'm doing now. And it made me feel so good. The 17-second rule. I am like, multiple times 17 seconds in this special place, feeling so cared for, supported, and, accomplished. So, what's going to happen next? Only how much better can it get?
Thank you.
So, this is like, it's the secret certainly opened people up to this. So I am so grateful for that.
Yeah.
Now I can take you up to this level because you're ready. People are often afraid to dream and very afraid to share their dream. And here I'm saying, not only do you dream, not only do you share your dream, you actually celebrate it like a festival and you station yourself in those festivities.
Wait a minute. So we can share this with other people?
Yeah.
I'm a
I
little
mean,
confused. Really? Okay. I'm actually planning. It's kind of. It's just so. And I'm just amazed that you're doing this because I want to have like a concert with my students. So I am planning. I am planning a celebration of their
there you go.
talent
Yeah.
and their achievements. Isn't that funny? And I'm still putting it together. I think this is going to help me a lot.
Yeah. And the other piece that I'm talking to Gail here, but this is for everyone. The other piece is it activates all your sensory organs, and that is the secret to being in the vibration of that which you have desired. And that is when the desire gets realized. If your senses are in tune with that. So when you're planning a celebration, you know, just like we get when we are doing Diwali or Christmas or Holi or, the Thai New Year, we are in that vibe for a few days. So yeah, this is really the way to work. And when you do it from the flourishing triad, because your communication will be with humility, as opposed to, look at me, I'm holier than thou.
Yeah.
you'll share it and you'll be in harmony with that which you are celebrating. So nobody will think you've gone bonkers. It'll be like, okay, she really loves celebration. I want to be a part of it. That's great.
It's cool.
Go forth and amplify, Gail. It's a great
I'm
time.
ready for the new year. Thank you.
Over to you, Anashri.
Sarah, would you like to ask any questions, Sarah? Okay,
Sorry.
Ananta.
Yeah, no. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm not
No, no,
feeling
no issues.
100%. I just got back from Washington. Um, yeah, so about The Secret, because um I know Jack Canfield and some others, and what has been admitted about who was involved with The Secret, what had been involved, what was missing in The Secret was exactly, well, actually, Mynoo has taken it several levels above that, but was really the full spectrum, was visualization in terms of full spectrum. It wasn't that you could just, like in The Secret, where you'd say, okay, I don't know, I want a Jaguar, and then send it out to the universe and go away and do your things and not do anything about it. It's that the missing pieces to The Secret was sitting, visualizing and tasting and smelling, and what would you be feeling and what would it look like, and the whole process. And then so celebration is, I didn't even think about that. It's interesting for me because I just got back from Washington. I don't know what anybody thinks about Bobby Kennedy. We're not going to get into politics, but I've been 2.5 years in the campaign. Um, and we just got back from the confirmation hearings for Bobby and Tulsi Gabbard. And there were celebrations. We had, like, there was one big celebration to thank everybody for the support, um, the night after the first confirmation hearing. And then we had dinners and lunches, and we all got together, everybody who's been involved. Uh, and I hadn't thought about that as manifestation, as a process. And there have been celebrations over the last 2 years, like in different sizes of celebrations. And it
Yeah.
hadn't occurred to me that that's part of the manifestation process. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah, I
Mynoo.
think what gives it the gravitas is standing in the flourishing triad, because you will be in a state of harmony. So you won't get sucked into any overindulgences. You will remain in that creative space in harmony, communicating with humility, and experiencing the vibe of flourishing, which is a vibe which is all about collaboration, co-creation, and regeneration.
Yeah, it's interesting because yesterday, just to close off my stay in Washington, I had an amazing lunch with a friend, and we were celebrating. And then I was walking around in the rain. I was gonna go to the museums, and then I decided I'd pass the Waldorf. Oh well, Mynoo, yeah. So Mynoo and
Oh,
I have there's a relationship there with the
oh,
Waldorf in New York. So I stopped in the Waldorf and I sat down and I just wanted to ground myself in a
yeah,
space where there was no activity. It's just luxurious and I could just be. And I read the newspapers and I got a cappuccino and I stayed for a few hours before I went to Union Station. And that was also celebration. I didn't realize, I didn't think about it, but it
yeah,
was.
yeah.
Yeah,
And all I'm
thank you.
saying is just bring it on, be conscious about it. Then you can literally, like just like a spotlight, direct it to whatever it is that you wish to manifest.
It makes it so much more fun too, not so serious.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
I just have to say one thing. I'm sorry, Sarah, but in the video of The Secret, it shows somebody who wants to, let's say, be in a car, wants to drive a car and be in a certain car, and they actually show a person, visualizing and sitting and experiencing the feeling of being in the car. So, what you said is not altogether
Yeah, but we're
correct.
talking about today, not when The Secret first came out, whenever it first came out. I'm not going to argue about it. I'm going to say Jack
No, but
Canfield brought this up a couple of years ago, that the realization was there was not that really intense, like purposeful intention of visualizing being there, smelling it.
Yeah,
That's, I'm just passing on information that was, shared with me.
Yeah,
there
but
was
that's not.
there was one small shot of one person, but really the real secret is activation of all of your senses. And I'm saying when you plan a festivity, that's why it's not just a celebration. Like you said, getting a champagne bottle, yeah, we celebrated. Sure, but it was like, just went, you know. But actually, you're here, you're stationing yourself in the festivities of that which you choose to celebrate. Very different.
Yeah, that is different. I like it.
Very different. Yes, Ananta.
Oh, this was just so cool to hear you talk about this because it's very, very timely for me as I just shared with you this full circle experience with my dream and
Yes.
manifesting this connection. And I also wrote a book about Navratri and how we celebrate each step, like at the 10th day, like the 9 nights and the 9 superpowers are cultivated through a journey. But I always share with people how the 10th day is very important on this journey and practice because we have to celebrate our progress as we go from, journey to journey. But what I love about how you're framing this is that it's not about just what we've already done, but also what we're calling into being. And I've been
Yeah.
experiencing that because as soon as I saw that the dream was reality, actually, I'm like, oh, this is so exciting. Like, I'm just gonna celebrate it as if it already happened. And I'm like so grateful for it. And I'm just like, this is all that's gonna happen because of it. And just like in a state of total congruity with it, like belief that like, yeah, like this is meant to be. And it's such a different way of approaching things. But then to like hear you talk about it, it like kind of codifies it. Like, oh, okay, I didn't just like randomly
Yeah.
do that. Like actually following something very timely and something that even I have been very like connected to. But now I'm like, oh, like maybe that 10th day is also about what you're saying, like stationing yourself in the festivities so that you are bringing forth the next transformation proactively. And then it makes sense to just take those steps because you're so excited because you feel like it's already happened.
Yeah. 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 It's amazing. I mean, I really loved it. It is stationing yourself in the festivities created by
Yeah.
you as a human. So it is literally like Christmas time. We station ourselves in Christmas vibe. We station ourselves in the Navratri. We station ourselves in the holy vibe, which is one of my favorite festivals. you know and when you are stationed in that, it isn't a moment like champagne to celebrate a milestone on a project. You're stationed in it. It's phenomenal.
It's so cool. Yeah, and it's like how in India, every day there's something being celebrated, right? Like whenever you go to the temples and stuff, it's like people are always celebrating something or the other, and they look for reasons to celebrate. Like they'll celebrate Christmas in the temple, the Hindu temples, and like I just love that, Like we really need that in spirit in the West because I feel like that was what gives people a lot of that upliftment in life too. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I
it's
think
such
we
a
can begin with
beautiful.
ourselves, and what
Yeah.
happens here is that each of our vibrational frequency rises. And as it rises, our holographic connection to everyone that we have a human connection with, that we've ever connected with, and everyone that we have a soul connection with, who we may not yet have met, actually feel that little hint, you know, of
Yeah.
the vibe that we have. So that's how we actually multiply it even more. So
I love it. I love it because I'm doing that even as I'm like doing the process with my business of like getting the outreach and client acquisition now should just be an ongoing thing even after we have the clients because we can
yeah,
have unlimited people who can benefit from this. So it should always be a part of the journey. But I'm like, you know what? Like I'm gonna keep doing the steps that I need to do and I'm gonna celebrate it as if it's already happened so that when it happens, the vibrational frequency is so on point that the right alignment will come in, and it'll just like be so like, yeah, like this is it. And no, none of that like questioning, doubting, like, like all the self-sabotage that we tend to do.
Yeah, Ananta, the important thing is we always begin with a flourishing triad: flourishing, harmony, humility. Okay, if you're there, you're cool. Because the moment you go into blame or meaning, and feeling exhausted, if you feel that loss of vitality, feeling exhausted can happen if you've been super busy.
Yeah.
Exhausted and being able to revive ourselves through rest is fine, but feeling drained is loss of vitality. You're in
Right.
the meaning triad. You're in the meaning triad.
Right.
Come back to flourishing, which is why this session number 3 is session number 2 was all about I choose to believe. So you already have a cluster of those beliefs, because it is your beliefs that give you your experience of the world. So you cluster those beliefs and they become your festivals. And just like we have the yellow day or the gold day or the red day in Indian temples, we can create our own clusters, whatever we
Yeah.
choose.
Yeah, it's so cool. So cool. So I'm just really enjoying it. And I'm loving your codes every day. I'm like, yes, this is the theme for today. So it's amazing. I'm so excited for February 10th. Are you going to do some kind of a launch with your alumni as well
Yeah,
to
I will.
be a part of the journey?
We have just finalized the book cover. Let me show you. Preview only to this group. Let me. Can you see it?
Yeah, wow.
That's
Mynoo, that's beautiful.
It's
Oh, it's
beautiful.
beautiful,
Yeah.
Mynoo. It's
Yeah.
kind of it goes really beautifully. There's symbiosis between that and the B book.
yeah, because
Yeah.
a lot
Really.
of it is the B book. There's few sections about be have, and I've acknowledged you, Sarah, because I began the B plan journeys with you.
Really?
Yeah.
Gosh. Okay.
Yeah, I love it. Absolutely. So many layers in it. Amazing.
It's
Yeah.
very you because it has also the purple. So
Yeah.
that's like very you.
Yes. Yes.
There's a luminescence to it. It's beautiful.
Thank you. We've had so many covers, that we've rejected. And I think this is the one. This is the one we've said yes to.
Mynoo, there is a question in chat box from Sonia.
So
Dear Mynoo, please explain the manifestation and vibration and what we can practically do.
yeah, I'll come to that, Sonia. Let me, and we'll have you on spotlight, but let me deal with Juston's question
Yes,
first,
yes.
and then, okay.
Thank
Juston.
you. I have two questions. One is just is an invitation if you're willing to tie in the manifestation page from your book. And there's like a certain formula in it, and I'd love to see this conversation and that one get linked. Um, and then I have a more practically applied situation that isn't specific to me, but it's like in business, I often um, workshop things with my team before we interface with a client or a partner. And I often workshop conversations in my head, or we'll take notes to prep through what a meeting looks like, or putting a meeting agenda together, like playing through how things are going to flow, especially like an offsite that's maybe 2 days. You really want all the pieces to come together. And so, noting that that's one expression of what you're talking about here, what happens when we're dealing with a bothersome situation in business, and a client that won't sign on to the upgrade plan, or a client that's, despite perhaps over taxing us with their with the current, these kind of things that come up, that we're kind of like workshopping opposing position So I'm
Yeah.
curious what some tips are to be able to navigate those things so that we're not holding in place what we don't want to happen.
Yeah, no, it's very, very important and a really good question. I really, now knowing what I know about these two triads, I am looking at things with those triads in mind, right? So a client isn't signing up to the upgrade. It's just a fact. He's not signing up to an upgrade. Now, and that's fine. You can stand in the middle of the flourishing triad and have a conversation with them to understand what is the issue, because you know that it is really going to serve them in exactly the way that they will accomplish whatever it is that they wish to accomplish. And they are saying no to this upgrade. So now you can have that conversation with them about what is it, what is missing and essential. And it may simply be a budget issue. It may simply be that the person, started this project because that is all that he had to do. He has some other assignment he's going to. But you can have that conversation, right? What happens is a client isn't upgrading, and we land up perhaps giving meaning to it, or we land up perhaps blaming something that either one of our colleagues did or did not do. We are boom in the meaning triad. And now loss of vitality, and the workshopping isn't coming up with solutions, but you guys are finding a solution as opposed to actually having a communication direct with the client. Because the flourishing triad keeps you there. You are in harmony regardless of whatever they say. The bottom line is, okay, there may be a cash flow crunch, and losing a client or a client not upgrading was an integral part of your projections, and it does seriously impact how much cash flow you were expecting. They are all facts. So, okay, given that we are in this situation, what are we going to do now? What are the positive aspects of being in this situation? And then go from there. That's the way I'm starting to deal with it. And that's really having me have some serious direct conversations. The level of clarity and the decisiveness it's given me, it's really yummy. And that in itself is worthy of celebration. So that's the key thing, Justin. Just know that if you allow in your workshopping something because you're going to find a solution as a way forward, standing in the flourishing triad will actually give you the way forward. Workshopping something in the meaning triad is, at the most, it will be like a little band-aid fix on something which is actually a much bigger scar. You're muted.
Oh, I'm coming to look at my triads. They're all written on the windows in my in my office here. It's hard to see them, but the black one's in black, but it's a little harder to see.
Yes.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, got it. Yeah, it's that staying out of those negative emotional charges, blames, so we can address the fact that maybe we spilled some milk, but not ranting and raving and acting like the world ended because there's milk on the floor.
yeah. And we can even acknowledge, I feel like ranting and raving. And and once you've acknowledged it, it actually passes.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, in this flourishing triad, there is actually no room for unsaid communications.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot stay in the flourishing triad if you have unsaid communications with anybody. So you create ways in which you clear yourself of unsaid communications, even if it means communicating to your guides certain things that you want to communicate with someone else. Just get it out of your field. Otherwise, there'll be some part of you that will be eating away at that vitality. So very easy to slide into the meaning triad.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's helpful. Thank you.
What I have found with what I'm sharing today, so I choose to believe was a very important exercise. If you haven't done it, you do it. That's really important. then applying this, what I'm saying to you, manifestation, which is stationing myself in the festivities of that which I desire, um, it like it's really hard for anything to shake me out of it now. Like there's so much backtracking will have to occur. So it's and I have to say, and I'm saying this to everyone because all of you have had your own collection of accomplishments in your life and important milestones that you probably never saw as an accomplishment. Do apply this, celebrating, being stationed in the festival of celebration of those sort of happenings, because it like tunes your field up to that vibration like nothing else. And because it is so real, that has already occurred, there is no ambiguity there at all. And from once you're there in that space, you look at that, what you wish to realize from your I choose to believe clusters.
And the first part of my question, just as a reminder, the manifestation formula from the book.
Yeah, I need to go back and revisit that. Today, my
Fair
guidance, it's a transmission, so I don't interfere with the transmission, go and do
Yep.
anything physical, but I will do that. I think I'm curious about it too.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Initially, I got that out ready to use that, but it was like, no, this is you're going to transmit. So here's the transmission. Okay, Sonia.
Oh, I put it in the chat as my video may be a bit unreliable, but
Okay.
really, thank you so much for this session. It's been amazing. I just perhaps thought it would be really good to get some more ideas on the vibrational aspect of manifesting and how we can, work
Yeah,
on
with what I'm saying now, see, there is a theory of manifesting, and there are lots of people that talk about it. I'm not talking about that because you can get all that information. Lots is available online already. So what I'm talking about is fine-tuned to each one of us. So it is that which you I don't know whether you read what we talked about in the last two sessions. Did you? You were there in the first one. Unmute.
Yes, I was in the first session. The last session, I will get the transcript, I think.
Yeah. So doing the what's in the transcript is a very important part of this step. Okay, that's why it's a cluster of three. So when you do the second part where you're actually really declaring whatever it is that you choose to believe, you can cluster your beliefs into certain topics or headlines. And then you can go to the, really being stationed in the festival of this belief. And then you go ahead and look at different ways in which you would celebrate it like a festival.
Mm-hmm.
So the next 7 days, if you're going to be in this station in this festival, which could be one of a set of cluster of your beliefs, like right now I'm stationed in I choose to believe about my biological age being 30 years younger than my chronological age, right? And I'm really celebrating, right? Now, and I'm in that space, and I'm really stationed. So there's so much stuff that is coming through for me to celebrate. I've really structured it. I'm at a very particular place in Bangalore. I've never been here before. It's in the middle of a forest. Just so happens to be this little haven, which is a naturopathy center. I didn't even know it was a secret. People didn't know about it. So it's interesting. It came about because I chose this is a celebration I want to enjoy. So you will create that and then station yourself in the festivities of that.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is every cell in your being understands that rhythm, understands what that vibe feels like, understands and is tuned into it. and you're in those I choose to believe clusters for 17 times 4 seconds and beyond. So the universe is already regenerating it for you.
Yeah, it's like a level above gratitude, isn't it?
Oh,
Celebration.
yeah.
Amazing.
It is even beyond celebration because it is about festivities.
Ah, yeah.
Stationing yourself in, just like I said,
Mhm.
when it's Diwali time, we are stationed in that.
Yeah.
And you have many days of it and you feel the vibe. And even if you, like right now, none of us burn any crackers or anything, and still it's Diwali.
Yeah.
You're in the vibe of that. The same thing happens. That's the difference. It's beyond just celebration. It is like celebrating a festival.
Divine celebration. I don't, yeah, no, I'm feeling it now. I definitely got that transmission. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Any other questions or sharing from anyone? Anything that's showing up for you from what I have said? If not, then have a go, make of it. Yes.
Could you, I finally decided I was going to write down the triads. Could you repeat them again for us, please, just so we have them?
Flourishing triad has flourishing, harmony, and humility. Humility is the way in which you express. Harmony is how you feel within, and flourishing is, your ecosystem that enables you to feel like you're blossoming into full bloom. So
Okay.
that's a
And
flourishing.
right. Thank
And
you.
the shadow is meaning, which actually results in anxiety, and then anxiety leads to stress and hopelessness, anguish, depression. So there's meaning on the one side, then there is blame, which actually takes you off your game, and there is lack of vitality.
Okay. Thank you.
That eats up the life force, not just from you, but also from your projects.
Yeah, I get that. Thank you. I understand fully. Yeah, I see it. Thank you.
I didn't catch the flourishing. Oops. Hello.
Flourishing, harmony, and humility, meaning, blame, and lack of vitality.
I didn't catch your definition of flourishing. I know that one of the exercises was for us to write down what we think is flourishing and harmony, but you just gave your definition and I missed the flourishing part. Can you please repeat it?
To me, flourishing is like, it's blossoming into full bloom. And blossoming to me doesn't occur by myself, it's something that is a collaborative co-creation of coexistence.
Wow. Okay. Co-creation. I love that. Thank you.
Justin, did you put your hand up again?
Yeah, I did. I was originally going to speak to this, and it keeps coming up. The Burning Man Festival, which probably has 100,000 people that go into a very harsh desert environment and set up a city for, whatever, a week, although it takes several weeks. It's well known as as this just incredible serendipity bubble. Like you could be in the middle of nowhere wishing that you had a pair of Nike Air Jordans because your shoes are worn out, or that you need an ice cream cone, and it literally just like shows up for you in this magical way. And people constantly remark about how powerful this is. And I'm reflecting about how much work it takes to go set up a world. It's like if we were going to go celebrate underwater or on the moon, it would take so much energy. And everyone's also celebrating their exotic costumes and creative things. They're decorating and making cars and tents and art and all the things. And I think and I'm curious about your reflections, but what felt like it was important to bring it up is that it introduces a collective collaborative approach to how the things that I hear you talking about here can create widespread change at scale, not just change for each of us individually at scale.
Yeah. And what I'm saying here, just John, it's a great example of celebration and festivities, right? Because it's like every moment is a festival of kind. And it has become a festival of its own, the Burning Man phenomenon. What is different about what I'm saying here is inviting each person to stand in the flourishing triad, even as you engage in Burning Man or the Kumbh that is going on right now in India. That also is like a huge city that is built, in this area where there are three rivers that come together. Um, so if each person stays in the flourishing triad, the experience will be, greatly enriched in line with manifestation and miracles. There are many unfortunate situations that also occur, and they impact many people's lives in Burning Man or even in the Kumbh. So the idea is we so easily look outwards. 2025 is a beautiful opportunity to just come within you. You stand in the flourishing triad. And yeah, you go to Burning Man, and your experience will be phenomenal, very different to what you might have experienced before. You'll participate and partake in more than what you probably ever did before, which will continually, regeneratively feed the flourishing triad.
Yeah, I think my curiosity is around the how much vacuum or the visual, auditory, kinesthetic goes into the 6 months of prep, but like how much vacuum happens, and is that input the output that generates the serendipity or the spontaneous fulfillment of desire and the manifestation principle in like overdrive?
The Burning Man is one such festival which is so driven by whacking only, visual, auditory, kinesthetic. Because many burners, and I know many burners, and everyone's like really, visually, auditorily, kinesthetically, engaging with what it's going to be like in the next Burning Man experience. And that's why it's expanded and amplified to the extent that it has. It's a direct function of whacking.
Nice. Well, I'm curious about replicating the vacuum process in collectives when we're doing collaborative things in general, and I think that's really where the inspiration is. So thank you for entertaining the conversation.
The whole idea of this cluster of four is like literally, once I've said these four, they are very specific, very precise, and they are, so it's good that you're talking about comparables, like Gail brought up the secret and stuff, because understanding the nuances that are quite different and distinct is important. And that's why do it, implement it. Don't let it just be an aha moment. Use some part of your weekend to experience this, being stationed in the festival of that which you choose to believe. And once you get the difference, you just won't work any other way. Why bother? Okay, we can go ahead and complete our session today. Lee, you begin with your word to complete. You'll need to unmute.
Flourishing.
Pass it on.
And I'll pass it on to Rubina.
You need to
Rubina.
unmute.
Also flourishing. I pass it on to Gail.
Whole and complete. It's just how I feel right now.
Okay, pass it on.
And I pass it on to Justin.
Thank you. Flourishing also, Sunny.
Ooh, growth.
Sunny, pass it on.
And I don't have my people to show, so I'll give
Never.
that back to you.
Neelam, unmute.
Gratitude and bliss.
Okay. Ken?
Enlivened and my heart is singing.
Wonderful. It's middle of the night there, I think.
Yeah, it's a little after midnight.
Okay. Sarah?
Conscious intention.
Okay. Stephen? Unmute.
Stillness.
Wonderful. Mary Catherine?
Miraculous manifesting.
Wonderful. Linda?
Gratitude. And I passed it on to, let's see, Mary Catherine's been, to Sunny.
Sunny has been as well, but you can pass on Kathleen.
Kathleen.
Thank you. Celebratory is the word I will share.
Right. You can pass it to Ananta or Gail.
No, I went already. Prima, I don't think went. Neither did Vineet.
Yeah, celebration.
Okay, Prema, got it. Sonia.
Yeah, actually, celebration.
Wonderful. Vineet.
Harmony.
Harmony. Meenaji.
Blessings.
Wonderful. Anushri.
Mynoo, manifestation.
Okay, miracles is mine. I declare our session complete. Thank you, everyone. Have a great
Thank
weekend.
you, Mynoo.
Do share in the group what emerges for you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.